read 116 books last year, and here are the absolute best of the best, the cream of the crop, the ones that made me lose sleep and changed my life forever. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elena, and here I talk about books. We're going to jump right in. Feel free to skip to whichever chapter appeals to you the most. I'll be splitting this up by genre, and in each chapter, I'll be talking about my top recommendation as well as any honorable mentions in that category. The top recommendations here are perfect if you're a new reader looking to start building a new habit, or if you're a seasoned reader that just wants to explore a new genre. A lot of the books mentioned here I got from either Aardvark or Book of the Month. Those are two different book subscription services. I have a video talking about the differences between those two on my channel. I really love those services because you get discounted hard copies and you often get new releases or signed books, and it really just helps me keep up with the new releases every month. Some of the other books I read on Kindle, or I listened to on audio, or I took out from the library. A lot of the books I'll be talking about here I actually lent out to friends because I love them so much and I recommend them all the time, so I don't currently have the physical copy. Let's get started with romance. Left of Forever was my top romance read of the year. It's a second chance romance with mature characters. It's funny, it's sweet, it's relatable, and it's spicy. You'll especially love it if you have experience being in a serious relationship or are currently in a serious relationship. A lot of romance books tend to be like very early stage honeymoon phase. This is not that. This is a couple reconnecting 5 years after their divorce. Runner-up is The Favorites. This was actually my first read of the year, and it's not just romance, it's drama. The drama here is insane. It's about two competitive figure skaters and their personal and professional life. It's insane. Honorable mention to Love Me, Stalk Me. This is really good if you're looking to venture into dark romance and just want to kind of test the waters. It's a really good dark romance starter book. Romantasy. This category is tough because I read a lot of first books in unfinished series, and I'm a little bit hesitant to recommend those in case the sequels are not good. Rebel Witch is definitely my absolute top romantasy read of the year. This is book 2 in a romantasy duology. It's a finished series. It's about a witch and a witch hunter, enemies to lovers. It's YA fantasy, so there's no spice, but honestly, the book doesn't need it. Honorable mentions are Metal Slinger and Forbidden Alchemy. These are both the first books in unfinished series with sequels coming out in 2026. Both of these have crazy twists. They were unput-downable books, and I have very high hopes for their sequels. Another little one is Hot for Slayer. So this was part of the Scared Sexy series. It's a collection of novellas that came out around Halloween, and they were on Kindle Unlimited. I really thought this one was fun. It's about a vampire and a vampire hunter, except the vampire hunter bumps his head, gets amnesia, and doesn't realize who he is and what he's doing. Next is horror, and this is actually the largest category because I read a lot of amazing horror books in 2025. My absolute favorite that I recommend to everybody is When the Wolf Comes Home. This book is just so good. It's gory, it's creative, it's this deep exploration of fear and the role that fear plays in our lives. That's actually all I can say without spoiling it for you. Seriously, just go read this book. 2 of the horror books that I read had romance, and I realized that I really love when a horror book has a kind of crossover with another genre. Plain Ice is horror with spice, and it's also really funny. Possession of Alba Diaz is historical fiction with horror with romance. I would say it's probably even more romance than it is horror, but honestly, it's so good, and there's an exorcism in it. Like, what's not to love? Other honorable mentions in this category. Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang. This is about racism during COVID times in New York City. A girl who works as part of a crime scene cleanup crew uncovers a serial killer. This is crazy. Big City Girl falls into the trad wife life, except now she is kind of living in the shadow of her stepkid's deceased mom, and this mom was perfect, homeschooling, scrappy. This book was very unexpected. The way it started, I just had no idea where it was going, and it completely surprised me. I lent this one out to a friend recently, and it is chaotic, funny, and just insane. It's like a coming of age story written essentially from the perspective of a 14-year-old girl. She's a first-generation Vietnamese immigrant, and she suddenly develops the intense craving for raw meat. Not a new release, but I did read it in December. This is for fans of historical fiction, horror, folklore. I would say it's not that scary. It's more based on the folklore, but it does have quite a bit of gore at the end. It's actually a really nice story about a woman who is taking back her power and a spirit that is awakened that has to decide whether he is a destroyer or a protector and healer. Pam Kowalski is a monster. I read this one as an advanced reader copy. It's a novella and it's just action-packed and hilarious from start to finish. It gets like progressively more and more insane the deeper you go in the story, and it's just fantastic. Next we have Sci-Fi. When I read Dissolution by Nicholas Binge, I loved it so much I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. I think this is actually the book that made me want to start a booktube channel. I was so excited and I just really wanted to talk about it. This was one of the first 2 videos that I filmed on my very first day as a booktuber. A very exciting thing that happened to me in 2025 is that I posted a review of this book on Goodreads and the author, Nicholas Binge, liked my review. In Dissolution, we have an elderly protagonist who thinks her husband has dementia, but then someone comes to her home and says, hey, he doesn't have dementia, he's having his memories erased, and you need to help save him. This book is criminally underhyped. Immaculate Conception is another fantastic read. I think it might be classified as horror, but I would group it more with the sci-fi books because of the dystopian setting. The horror aspect is just the power of technology. This book really explores the possibilities of technology in relation to the world of fine art. It also explores toxic female friendship. This one's not new, but it's sci-fi because of the dystopian setting, and honestly, it's just way ahead of its time. It's such a crazy book, and it's really not that unrealistic. Next, we have magical realism. I put this as its own category because it's one of my favorite genres. It's probably more of a subgenre, but really, magical realism is literary fiction with a spark of magic. If somebody wanted to explore magical realism and asked for my top recommendation, it would hands down be Other Side of Now. This book was so unexpected and it just rocked my world. This one's about a girl who accidentally ends up in the alternate timeline of her life where one decision made everything change for her. This book really does have everything. We have friendship, career, growth, self-fulfillment, love. There's even some spice in here. I read this book months ago and I still can't stop thinking about it. I have goosebumps just talking about it. Aftertaste is a close second. When I was reading this, there were times when I actually had to put the book down and take a little break. Also, when I finished reading it, I couldn't even rate it for weeks because I had to just process everything that happened. It's about a chef who's able to connect people with someone that they lost by cooking a ghost's favorite meal. It's devastating and funny, light and heavy. It's a very, very good read. Honorable mentions are Alchemy of Secrets and Kitty St. Clair. These are not going to change your life, but they're just fun, easy, slightly magical reads. Next, we have kind of a miscellaneous category. These books I couldn't group with any of the other categories that I have in this video, so they're just kind of on their own. If you haven't already read this, what are you waiting for? Beautiful mystery about a woman who washes up on shore of an island that's essentially just going underwater, and there's one family left that lives on this island. Everybody's got secrets. It's a very beautifully written mystery, a little bit slow in the first half, but makes up for it in the second half. La Femme qui Fuit, the English version is called Suzanne. It's historical fiction about a woman who abandons her young kids and just leaves her family and kind of goes off to do her own thing. And it's about her life before and after this event during a very pivotal time in Quebec history. I read it in French and it is really beautifully written. I can't speak to the translation, but a lot of this book is very poetic, so I hope that the translation does it justice. This one's just fun. It's a locked room whodunit set at a lavish Sweet 16 party. It's not changing anyone's life, but it's a fun read. Christmas has its own category, and this one really depends on what you're in the mood for. Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon is a book you should read if you really want to have a good cry, but you're also wondering, what Christmas movie should you watch? Good Spirits is for you if you love something that's super festive, lots of holly, lots of candy canes, but you also like a little bit of magic and a lot of spice. You have a dark humor and you thought American Psycho was hilarious. This one's for you. Last but certainly not least, we have Can I Tell You Something? And this is one that I would recommend if you're an audiobook girl. The context of this book is just delivered better over audio. Just trust me and thank me later. I would love to hear your thoughts on any of these books if you've read them, or whether you'll be adding any of them to your TBR. Life's too short to read bad books, so let's go into 2026 with a fresh slate and let's DNF the books that we're not enjoying and only read good books. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's venture into this new year of reading together.